I was teaching at the University of Ife, and it struck me as a kind of irony of existence that while I was filling the brains of my young students with, I hope, some knowledge and skills, that those brains were being wasted on the road, on the slaughter slab. We called Ibadan Ife at the time, the slaughter slab.
Following the unprecedented catastrophe of unparalleled proportion that was about to engulf the road transport sector in Nigeria, where over 40,881 crashes were recorded in the year 1976 alone, concerned citizens led by Professor Wole Soyinka stood to liberate their fatherland from the shackles of road traffic crashes.
It's mindless killing. There are certain drivers who are worse terrorists than Boko Haram and herdsmen put together. Those whose brains are incapable of imagining what happens to other drivers on the road as long as they can have their own way.
So it was at that time that Soyinka spoke with the Oyo State government, which now seconded about 10 of the good officers of the former Oyo State to help train 250 NYSC people that were seconded.
And it was, of course, with great pleasure that we found that this also appeared to have been agitating the mind of the governor for some time.
Prior to the establishment of the Federal Road Safety Corps in 1988, the World Health Organization, WHO, had adjudged Nigeria the second most dangerous country in the world to drive a motor vehicle.
You will recall that in 1986, Professor Wole Soyinka got the Nobel Prize. And Babangida, who was president at that time, tried to find different ways to support him. Professor Akinyemi mentioned the issue of road safety, that he believes that Soyinka, because he's passionate about road safety, will not turn down operating a road safety thing like he did for Oyo on a national scale.
You must first of all commend the past councils and the boards, right from the first council of Professor Wole Soyinka to Vice Admiral Ajuwo, to Alhaji Maina, to Ambassador Greg Mbadiwe, up to Chief Felix Chukwu, all the past chairmen of the council or the boards, depending on the nomenclature adopted as at that time. Then to all my former bosses that I've been privileged to work with, all the past commercials, from Dr. Oluwagunloye to His Excellency General Nania, and also to Dr. Danyaro Yakasai, Engineer Wakilbe of blessed memory, and also to Chief Osita Chidoka, OFR. All of them, in one way or the other, have made tremendous contributions to the continuous growth of the Federal Road Safety Corps.
I think in that regard, looking at its evolution in the last 30 years as an organization, you have performed credibly well in different areas. Let me mention one. You were able to achieve, at least as the lead agency for traffic management in this country, the recognition of the World Bank. You'll be used as a reference point to a lot of African countries.
The Federal Road Safety Corps is a strategic intervention to address the ugly trend of road crashes.
Due to the rate of crashes on this corridor in the past, the Corps decided to establish the accident and emergency clinic as a quick response clinic to victims of road traffic crashes. But as time progressed, a command was created to further bring down the rate of crashes by carrying out enforcement. And that has actually stemmed the tide of road traffic crashes, especially on this corridor.
And then the formation, we used to have 105 formation nationwide.
But when you look at the beginning, that small beginning, which I mentioned earlier, and today, I'm talking about 500 to 600 formations. The Corps has grown in the last 3 decades to be an organization that is reckoned with nationally and globally. And today, you're talking about national headquarters in Abuja, 12 zonal commands, 37 sector commands, 199 unit commands, about 40 outposts, 201 driver's license centers, 30 production plants for number plates, 1 farm center for printing a driver's license.
Section 5 of the 2007 Act also gives the FRSC power to make regulations in order to execute the objectives of the Act. And through that regulation, so many policies were made. These include the introduction of the policies such as the Road Transport Safety Standardization Program, RTSSS, the Driving School Standardization Program, the DSSP, and the National Uniform Licensing Scheme, the NULS.
The integrity of the driver's license is restored. We have a database for almost everybody who goes through the process. Faking of driver's license is impossible.
FRSC has recorded tremendous achievements in the area of traffic engineering, road safety administration, traffic management, and crash reduction.
I'm talking about the FRSC Academy for Training of Officers and the training school in Jos. I think we're in the process now to have the inspectorate school as well as a staff college also.
As a performance-driven organization with clearly set measurable key performance indicators, FRSC is today the only law enforcement organization in Nigeria certified by the International Standards Organization.
When you're looking at the issue of ISO certification, it's more about a quality management system, and that is on road traffic administration and safety management. Globally, Nigeria, FRSC Nigeria is the 4th organization, uniform organization that is ISO certified, and I think is a success story.
And for operations department, it has helped us to use technology to drive what we do, especially in terms of bookings. We've been able to improve our database because as we are booking at the field commands, this information comes to us directly. This has helped to improve our dashboard reporting, our special patrol reporting, which we used to do manually. Now we don't do that. As they are entering it at the point in the command, we get the information here, and it's easier for us to analyze the data.
I want to use this occasion to heartily congratulate the Federal Road Safety Corps on its outstanding performance over the last 30 years. The Corps has contributed tremendously to reducing carnage on our roads, improving driver education, and also contributing to saving lives. This to me is worth celebrating.
There is no doubt that in any part of the country one goes to in this country will see your presence on our highways.
I must also commend the leadership for the regular statistics that we obtain in terms of the number of accidents, the number of deaths, and the fact that we could really convince the entire nation and the world that this organization is working. People love statistics, and the fact that you can show clearly the impact of the work you are doing is commendable.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has ever since its establishment operated with global standards, bringing down the trend of crashes and reducing fatalities on the road through a robust public education on the use of the highways, prompt rescue services, removal of obstructions, effective patrol operations, stakeholder cooperation, among others.
Number 1 approach is education. Number 2 approach is persuasion, which is equally part of education. And when you even do subtle force, you see educate. When you are delaying someone, or you deflate the tires and you want to punish that person, you could still start to talk to him, to educate him. And when you enforce, the person is supposed to come and pay fines in the office. It's still education, because you still have to sit him down somewhere, tutor him on how to properly use the highways, and again, allow him to watch some gory films that could deter him from doing what he has done. So it's still education.
Building relationship with the key stakeholders like the URTW, National Association of our Road Transport Owners, NATO, then the Road Transport Employers Association and NUPENG. It was a difficult thing then, but gradually we started getting the required cooperation.
So, sir, with due respect, what you are doing, be like charity, just to save life and property. This is Nigeria.
The first governing council of the Federal Road Safety Commission, when it was established, this union is included in the governing council.
We are part of it right from the inception, up to date. And that working relationship has been maintained by the previous leaders of the two organizations.
And since that time, up to today, we have been working.
But the first achievements Boboye did, I don't know how he did it, because God is on his side, was able to bring the trade unions who have been fighting for years together.
But I can tell you, the achievements we are seeing since the present commercial took over, he reformed the corps. So it shows that you have to commend the present commercial.
So we DTD NUPENG, we have committed ourselves, and we will continue to do whatever we can to make sure that we are saving life and property in Nigeria road.
Because you have a listening ear. You have a listening ear, because anybody who feels in power, I've got a position I want to do undo. This is why you find mistake. But this man have a listening ear, and he took advice from us as the stakeholders.
And at the stakeholders meeting, they give opportunity for all the stakeholders to contribute. So they made us, the stakeholders, to see their policies as we are part of it, or we are those that formulated the policy.
Whenever we have our meeting, in our next meeting, we direct our various unit officers that you should go and become a peer educator in your unit. Not what you learn here should not remain here. You have to take it there.
The present commercial is moving of having a state secretariat for the commercial.
On behalf of myself and my members, 16 million members in Nigeria, we support Boboye Oyeyemi as the commercial of road safety. That if it's going to be there in the next 20 years, if I have the power to do it, I will do it.
So I think we have a very good relationship with them, and we enjoy the relationship.
And as a commercial on seat, I congratulate him for this success.
We commend them for all their noble efforts. We've gotten the maximum support from them. We appreciate all this.
The Corps has now come of age. In its 30 years journey, it recorded, for instance, a commendable 62.4% reduction in crashes from 40,881 in 1976 to 25,792 within its first operational year alone, down to 5,993 in 2016 and 4,418 in 2017.
The National Hospital Abuja and the Federal Road Safety Corps has had a collaborative relationship since 2014 with the construction of our highest level trauma center, the National Trauma Center, which was commissioned in 2014. We had a collaboration for training of road safety staff, and as first responders, because very often they are the people that bring in road traffic accident victims.
Now, if you look at that citizen mentality, what I call the mentality of the road terrorist, education has changed a lot of that. It's true that accidents still happen. It happens in every country, but the mentality of the average road user has changed.
And every day we ensure in all the states and federation there must be at least 2 or 3 motor park rallies up to the unit command levels. This is the real measure of our road safety activities, continuous education of road users.
Our aim is to enhance welfare activities such as zone management, vocational trainings, healthcare and road use campaign. We are always ready to support the Corps to create awareness to the public. that we should all abide by rules and regulations of the road.
So what we do now is a use of social media. Mostly, we use Twitter, we use Facebook, and so on and so forth to reach our people. So that at any time, any time of the day, you could have a message. For example, if we have a crash somewhere, you go quickly to social media to alert the motoring public. If there's hold up somewhere, if there's a blockade, most of the time we tweet, we send messages to Facebook.
Also leveraging on the traditional media, the TV, the radio. I'm happy that already through the effort of the commercial, we are already processing, looking forward to having our own radio station, traffic radio station.
The operators are doing the right thing, what they are supposed to do to drive the policies of the commission down to grassroots and to ensure that these things are carried out accordingly. Basically, our duty of trying to reduce road traffic crashes to the barest minimum.
Again, it is noteworthy to look at the direction of the present leadership of Dr. Bowie Uyemi's swift response to the incessant abuse of traffic rules, which led to the putting together of the Operation Cobra to address certain life-threatening traffic-related offences like dangerous driving, route violation, use of phones while driving, traffic light violation and drunk driving. This singular step became instrumental to the decline in crash rates in 2017. The Corps also embarks in consultation with stakeholders who have become more involved through the mechanism of the Special Marshals, Celebrity Special Marshals and Road Safety Clubs.
I have one department. I have about 4 sections. In the department, we have the section for Special Marshals. We have a department for Federal Operations. Special Marshals section handles all Special Marshal activities, their recruitment, their training, their activities, what they do, and monitoring them, generally managing Special Marshal, because the number has grown exponentially to about 18,000.
The Special Marshals are the second arm of the Federal Safety Corps as volunteers who complement the efforts of the regular marshals. It's the only volunteer arm that have reached up to 18,500 members in the whole world that have come together as volunteers. We are so happy. We are the good Samaritan of our time.
I attended one rally with motor drivers in Ogun State. I think a wider use of chapters.
This is not a police force. This is a preventive medicine organization, largely a civil organization.
Within the last 11 years, we've enjoyed the support of the World Bank through the Road Sector Development Team of the Federal Ministry of Power Works and Housing. We're also partnering with WHO through the Federal Ministry of Health to give more support, which we have been receiving of recent.
And as a major stakeholder, we want to thank you. You've actually reduced our burden. Without you, we will have had to deal with many more accidents. We will have had to deal with many more deaths. But we want to commend you, we want to congratulate you, and to really pledge that the Federal Ministry of Health will continue to work with you to make your job easier.
The UN Decade of Action for Road Safety is the focus of the United Nations because of the worry in respect of the road traffic crashes. The key issue of this is to reduce fatalities by 50% using the baseline of 2011 for member nations. And then we look at Nigeria today, I think we've done well, and that the crashes are trending now. The fatalities are reducing, more lives are being saved.
The United Nations resolution, Federal Road Safety Corps, as far as Nigeria is concerned, they were given a mandate to have reduced the crashes on the road by 50%. And as I'm talking to you now, going by the statistic, I think they have reduced it to more than 50%, even before 2020. So we pledge that we will develop on that in the remaining 2018 and 2019 scenario.
On the global scene, FRSC takes leadership role of West African Road Safety Organization as part of measures to scale up the bar in road safety management within the West African region. Further to this, the Corps has provided technical assistance to Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ethiopia, and so on. It has secured implementation of a policy robust engagement with international organizations for capacity building, including World Bank projects and Safe Corridor project, etc., got Nigeria's accession to the Geneva and Vienna Conventions in road signs and markings, and also made Nigeria the first African country to be admitted into the International Traffic Safety Data Analysis Group.
There is also effective collaboration between you and other sister agencies across the globe. My committee is so much satisfied with the functions and their performance that we stand to support you at any given time.
Through the use of state-of-the-art information technology facilities, the Corps has been able to enhance its operational capacity aimed at promoting public safety and security.
We are one of the leading agencies when it comes to IT, deployment of IT for our operations, and also looking at the target being among the 20 safest nations.
Well, one of the advantages, one of the improvements, of course, has been the increased use of technology. So we could use a lot more technology, preventive technology. There's a lot of that going on, including simple things like vehicle recorders, in which the recorders actually will tell you what the car has been doing all day when it accelerated, not different from, a bit not so complicated as a plane's black box.
Introduction of the toll-free 122 emergency number and a 24-hour call center established to reduce response time for crash victims, a single step that has reduced emergency response time from 50 minutes to 15 minutes, thereby decreasing the number of fatalities in crash situations.
If you look at the work we are doing, I think it is high time, if we have the right funding, FRSC personnel should actually be in barracks. So at every point in time, at the slightest snap of the tip of the finger, like this that it happened, we would have all assembled and off we go.
I wish the Corps the best of luck in what they have been doing and even more. And of course, we expect that the rate of accidents that have been reduced continue to reduce until we reach or achieve that goal of the decade of action on road safety.
For the next decade, to achieve the UN Decade of Action, which now we are working on the Sustainable Development Goals 2030.
In the next decade, I want to see the Road Safety Corps doing more, particularly education, creating more awareness, warning us when sections of the road are in bad condition, monitoring traffic and so on. I think there's a lot that we can do more. This will require resources, more logistics, more human resources, but I believe with strong support from government, you can do more and you'll be able to go places.
I want to see a road safety where if we have an accident on the major highway, they should be able to chop in with a helicopter, ambulance, pick out the critical victims.
We also intend to start the penalty point so that once you have 21 or so points, the court also can stop you from driving for a specific time.
We think that we should be able to send tickets to people online. We shouldn't have flying tickets, we shouldn't have paper written tickets. We should be able to have gotten to that point where we can tell you that you have committed an offense and you get the booking online.
And again, going back to schools so that we start bringing them up young, understanding even before they can drive vehicles. Just understand that road safety is actually a discipline in itself, rather like history, geography, arithmetic, or whatever. I think we need to bring up those children right from the most impressionable stage.
There's no organization that doesn't have challenges, but all the challenges are surmountable. In terms of logistics, we have over 1,000 vehicles now for patrol activities, which is still small. Looking at the road network of 204 kilometers in Nigeria, with the federal roads alone about 35,000, we still need twice that number. We still need twice the personnel we have. We need more foot soldiers.
And we also have an understanding to make some of your health posts are pre-AC facilities. And as this materializes in the coming months, we will be able to offer services to our people. And that means that the Corps will be doing more than it ever anticipated.
We're talking about 21,000 workforce today. By the end of this year, 2018, we'll be talking about 25,000 workforce, which is highly commendable. And Mr. President has really assisted a lot.
It is imperative to consider adopting the G8 Summit resolution in Nigeria, which prescribes the dedication of 10% of road contracts to road safety, strong legal framework to enhance the capacity for enforcement of traffic rules and regulations, improved funding backed by strong political will, and concerted sustained efforts across a range of sectors will no doubt put Nigeria on the same pedestal with other nations across the globe.
If we sustain this level of funding, I believe we surmount all the challenges ahead of us.
And you cannot get a first-class result if you do not deploy resources as much as it is required to be able to produce those results. So as far as funding is concerned, I'm one of those that stood as a very strong advocate for the Federal Road Safety Corps to receive the appropriate funding, commensurate to the expectations of Nigerians. We intend to have you cover the entire traffic situation in the nation. That means that you must have the kind of facilities, either ICT-based or physical equipments.
We give thanks to God, and we thank all those who in one way or the other have contributed to the success story of the court today, of which the government is proud and the public have really appreciated this. I want to thank all of you, and may God be with you. And we assure you in the Federal Road Safety Corps that we continue to do our best, and we make you proud for the next decade. Thank you.